customize their strategy. Okay. All right. Any other? Definitely, they are differentiating their product through the quality, probably, and also the security features what they try to imbibe. It is almost impossible to hack into that. That's what they claim. And also the strength of their operating system technologically, etc., etc. However, price is also at a differentiated price compared to most of the other comparative models. So the basic marketing technique, what they have chosen is differentiation, but probably not a focused differentiation, because differentiation also covers a large band of customers around the world, reasonably middle class and above middle class also may be a part of those customer groups. But if you ask me, for example, the high-end Porsche car or Rolls-Royce car, for example, is it general differentiation or focused differentiation? Yeah, someone saying something. Rolls-Royce, is it general differentiation or focused differentiation?
Focus, sir.
Absolutely focused. Because probably to manufacture one car, it takes about 6 months for them, like Wuha was saying about the bag of Louis Vuitton. These are all marketing, I don't say gimmicks, but that's how the exclusivity of those individuals in this world is proven. Some individuals, some customers, because of their financial and other statuses, they would like to be exclusively differentiated. And that nature of the consumer is identified by some companies. And according to the requirement of those consumers' behavior, products are being manufactured. Simple. So anyway, I think I'm only going into strategic management because I was thinking about it. But Louis Vuitton is an organization. It is not only for apparel and shoes. It has shoes and so many other customized products. In fact, for super rich class of Europe, Louis Vuitton manufactures cars also. Not manufactures, actually assembles. And very few individuals in the world get Louis Vuitton cars. Like that, it is very exclusive, but it is surprising. Let me ask you a phenomenon. Why a manufacturing company or an apparel a company's chief has become world's richest? Ideally, if our product is for selected, differentiated group of customers, then naturally we may not be as rich as those who are selling their products or services to the masses, because their volume is high. But here volume is low, but still this person is super rich. What is that phenomenon? What is the trend in the world? Can anyone interpret that? Try.
Monopoly power, sir.
How monopoly?
They are producing less than the very negligible supply by charging high prices.
That is
very high premium prices.
Absolutely agreed. However, how come that high premium price or very narrow group of customers can make this person rich in the world?
Maybe that guy has more other brands.
No, Louis Vuitton doesn't dilute its brand. It is only selected for selected customers, differentiation with a focus only. There are no generic things. Okay, we'll get Louis Vuitton in Sultan Bazaar also as a handbag. That's a different, that is not original Louis Vuitton. We'll get Rolex also on the streets of Koti. I don't know whether you know it or not. But that is not the point. Right? Someone is typing, maybe because of the share price. Okay, so what? But still the product. See, ultimately share is a fictitious number only. Share prices. Based on the confidence in the company, investors try to buy the share so that they'll get some profits out of selling it later. So it is a pure transactional amount. It is fictitious. It is actually not real. Could be reason, could be one of the reasons. Share price also okay. But what is the core phenomenon? I'm still waiting, or I'm still looking for that reason. You're thinking, all of you, thank you. You're thinking. At least I feel happy. My take on it, of course, perspectives may change. My take on it is 1% of entire US wealth is equivalent to 99 people's worth or wealth. Earlier it was 97% and 3%. That means what is happening to the wealth and wealth concentration in the world? It is moving upwards. I think somewhere I mentioned, right? Money moves upwards. That is how the systems are designed. And the upward movement of the money or wealth or whatever we call, is in such a tremendous speed in the current world that the 97% of the normal folk who are distributing the entire wealth, now they have increased to 99% in US. There is some generic survey. I mean, we cannot rely totally on statistics, because statistics are always lies. That's what they say. Lies and statistics. So what indicators those are? In India, during 1990s, it used to be about 60% wealth was concentrated in the hands of 40% people. Now it has moved to almost 87% of people's wealth is concentrated in about 13 to 14%, I mean, whatever the remaining percentage of the. That means still there is a heavy middle class, of course, in India, but from the standards and rupee and value of the rupee and all that, let us say the 1 crore, let us say one of your or some of your parents, if at all they have, as an example, don't take it literally, 1 crore now in India was equivalent to more than 10 crores probably in 1990 when the survey happened. So value of the rupee devaluated, but the money movement did not stop. It is going up. So my interpretation of this Louis Vuitton and super rich is, it's a clear indication that super rich class of the world would like to be differentiated through their lifestyles, through their products, what they use, through the actions what they want to take in their life or decisions, extreme decisions, because they are super rich, they can do anything. Think about Jeff Bezos, or think about some of those, I mean, as an example, or maybe that Johnson guy who went into the space and came back as a tourist, Jeff Bezos and his brother, and etc. etc. Super rich class of the world, they need something more focused and differentiation only for them. So type of vaccines, for example, extremely, people say that it's almost like that Illuminati group. I don't know, you have a habit of reading the novels. Dan Brown, as a novelist, he suggests that there is a separate group in this world, which is the Illuminati group, which decides the decisions of the world. It's a conspiracy theory, but now super rich became like that. Hence, exclusive products like Louis Vuitton products, they're getting more traction. That's my deduction out of all this. It's pure logic in it, may not be real. So more and more wealth concentration is happening. Yeah, bandwagon effect also to some extent. Some people would like to enter into the bandwagon because class above us are going there. Naturally, middle class looks upwards. Lower class looks upwards to middle class. Middle class looks upwards to super rich class. That's exactly what culture is, if you really look at. Why most of the cultural aspects, for example, a representation of culture in India and elsewhere in the world also is through, if you really look at, through films also, for example. Why most of the films, settings and etc. are animated means, I mean, those are not real, because middle class should look up like that in fashions, for example. Maybe in fashion TV, or some of the people, models walk on the ramps. Okay, so those models are immediately used by the super rich class and rich class, but middle class looks up to it. When they try to move into the next level, even that fashion as a culture also comes into here. Similarly, technology, similarly, any other things. So yeah, that is bandwagon effect. We want to enter into that. We want to jump into that. So that is possible, but physical reality doesn't make us. See, let us say tomorrow I want to have a Rolls Royce car. My physical conditions will never let me have it because of the financial or economic class. So I think this is a general observation if you can have. Most of us may think, even sweepers of the houses, they are also getting 10,000 rupees per month. Yeah, but what is the actual real value of that? That means what? More and more people are actually getting more poorer. Earlier middle class of 90s is actually below middle class now, if they are maintaining their similar financial status. If you understand. That's how we have to probably look at the trends in the economy from technology aspect as well. But for some time or even now also, technology has ruled the world. Because for example, Amazon technology is democratically distributed across any consumer, but it is not totally based on focus differentiation. It is a general, so it is cost management. They work on low cost management. In strategic management, we'll discuss about this. It is a little ahead of things I'm talking, but when I saw this news, actually, this is what I felt somehow. This is how the entire wealth distribution of the world is going on, probably. So it is not the democratization of technology or democratization of products. Probably this is about concentration of the wealth. Another trend. Probably. My analysis may be wrong, but that's who I am. I look into various angles like that. Anyway, I have spent reasonable time in explaining my analysis. But any questions, any doubts on that, or maybe you can counter me also, or any other interpretations you can propose? I know it's a single-use item, but I thought it is relevant for our strategic management in future also, near future. Yeah.
Sir, and due to incomplete information among the normal people, they also lose to the top people.
Because partial information is only available. That's what you say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Partial and incomplete and wrong information, sir.
Inaccurate also, incorrect also, absolutely. Yeah. That's exactly what happens. So you said it. See, for super rich or reasonably settled, higher or upper middle class, reasonably okay. Even incomplete information they can survive because they have some backup. But for those who are purely based on hand-to-mouth basis or without having much of savings, etc., highly dangerous. Especially to enter into that, for example, stock market. For example, because like you rightly said, incomplete information and just a trend in the newspaper or maybe a news channel looking at it, and for the past 3-4 days or maybe 1 month, it is bullish market, for example. And a normal average savings of let us say 5 to 10,000 additional to the expenses. And why don't we put this 5,000, 10,000 there because market is going up? Fingers will be gone. In fact, body will be gone. Why? Because these are all the people who get affected negatively because they cannot come back because they don't have enough backup. So the generic information has to be more carefully analyzed by the lower or middle class in terms of their financial status compared to the above or rich and super rich, because they have enough backup. Even if one portfolio of products or investments are burned, other portfolio will save. Here middle class, what do we have? I mean, what do at least I don't know middle class has. So this is how probably we have to. That's why the more analytical ability is needed for the middle class. Instead of just following the news, instead of just following the what do you call push news. Probably my subconscious is trying to make that point to you also as a caution in future. I don't know, but if I really think about it and confess, that's I think. Don't just follow the news of like a sheep. What I feel is, don't be a part of the herd. Try to be independent in the thought process. At least we will be reasonably better than a lot of individuals in the market because we are intellectuals in future, near future. We are going to be qualified chartered accountants. We should have analysis. For that, yes, we need to have antennas to gather, analyze, dissect. We should have our own data mining process inside. Gather the data from different databases, clean the data for our requirement, load the data whenever it is required. Is it not data mining process, data analytics process? Same here. Somehow I feel in that way. Thanks for this. Listening to this extended rhetoric, probably. But yeah, sometimes this type of news items, I feel an urge to explain what I think, and unfortunately, you're captured in the session, so you're listening to it. You're like captive soldiers. You don't have a choice to walk. So that's actually what I would say. Advantage I'm taking probably, but sorry for that. I hope you understand what I said. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other news things? Maybe
Sir,
Parinay, yeah, please go ahead, Parinay.
sir, Supreme Court rules in favor of Amazon in dispute with Future Retail.
Yeah, that means it is going to, future retail is not going to be taken over, right? Because it cannot, so Amazon has 1% or 2% stake in that. Can you believe that? So now future retail cannot sell its shares, or it doesn't have its own choice. So maybe they will have some other arbitration out of the court settlement. That's the next level. But let's see. If you really look at for the past 3-4 days, or probably this week, a lot of business decisions are coming in favor of large companies in India. Did you see the trend? Any other news item related to businesses? The retrospective tax against Kern Energy and Vodafone, or for some of the other companies earlier governments were trying to charge, that has been taken out by the current government yesterday as we speak. That actually is very highly significant. I mean, as again, future chartered accountants, we need to look into the details of it from a legal perspective as well as social implications and financial implications. So, I mean, I don't want to extend the discussion on that, but just as a tidbit, I want you to think about it and maybe search for this. A retrospective tax act. Nirmala Sitharaman, and of course, that means the political representative of Indian government from a financial standpoint. That's called finance minister. So she means the current government has accepted that. That means it may write off a lot of taxes what government wanted to take it from those companies. So for corporate companies, it is highly favorable. You know how much money most of the corporate companies may estimated to be saving? 1,10,000 crores because of this single line, or I don't say line, but single act. Silently, Parliament has passed it without any opposition, without any discussion. Also, if I remember the proceedings, 1,10,000 benefit to corporates, just like that. Of course, there are legal issues where Indian government has lost the case in Singapore International Court, arbitration court actually, and in France also they were trying to confiscate some of the Indian properties or Indian government's properties there on behalf of Kern Energy. But instead of fighting it back, Ji Huzur is what I feel. Indian polity, Indian government itself has touched the feet of corporates by this law. I mean, I'm using strong words. That's my probably opinion, but yeah, we have to, these are all like, unfortunately in the mainstream news, this particular news may be just about one small line item or something like that. They cover various other things, how John Abraham is building his body in front page of whatever. This is the most important news in some aspects of the economy, and how government is favoring a lot of power. But mainstream media doesn't even talk about it. So we have to depend on other varieties of media. So that is called from different databases. What I mean is, of course, as students, we may not have that much bandwidth and time also. I'm not saying that, but as a curiosity. So yeah, Parinay, what you said in terms of businesses, etc. Okay. So now it is favoring Amazon. Huh? So Indian company, Kishore Biani is Future Group. Future Group. Any brand names out of Future Group? Anyone knows? Just as a discussion. Business quiz. Big Bazaar. Pantaloons.
FBB.
Yeah. So that's how it is. Anyway, thanks for sharing that. I think it is 8:25. Other news always is there. So I think I'm the culprit today because I've taken more than required time, I think, with my opinions, opinions and observations. Then let's go to our syllabus. Fourth chapter. Any questions as of yesterday's syllabus? Not only in fourth, earlier also. Any important and urgent questions or doubts you have? Okay. If not, let's get into little more discussion on e-commerce. Yesterday we have discussed about different advantages, disadvantages, generic stuff if you really look at, but this can be a good question also in the exam. So if these type of questions come, we're good because we can prepare well, very relatively easier to remember this, this concepts as bullet points, and then we can elaborate with our free-flowing English. So it should be okay. Then e-commerce business models, we know B2C, B2B and all that, but some other explanation, varieties of businesses are there, organization of a product, service or information, revenues and benefits for suppliers and customers, this general discussion. Internet has created new business models. Definitely they have cut down the intermediaries or the wholesalers, etc., etc. Basically, directly from manufacturer, these aggregators are getting the products and then trying to distribute. In case of services, pure technology, Ola doesn't have any product, right? It's all service. So the service is purely, Ola is a software company. I don't know whether you know it or not. What is the software? What does the software do? It aggregates the taxi drivers and the customers. Simple. Swiggy is not a product company. Swiggy is a software company. That is what it does. What is the software? What does it do? It aggregates things. Simple. Through software, there is no physical product there. So ultimately, a product to reach to the customer, their software helps. These are all software companies. You have to understand. Okay. So business model means how the company would like to run, what type of business model a company should like to have, and how it takes money on a sustainable basis and grows. Because one of the organization's objective, any organization's objective is number one, sustainability, number two, growth. Growth is based on what? Based on coverage of customers, hence based on revenues also. And then based on markets, how many markets they are entering into, geography, as well as customer base. So e-models, electronic commerce models are also varieties of models. They utilize the benefits of electronic communications. Without network, none of this work. Hence, network is the backbone. And network means network security, protocols, believability and integrity of their data. So many things are there. That's why we believe in that. We don't question Amazon's website and their data. Why? Because they have made sure that the integrity is maintained. We believe it as customers. Sometime back, it was not there. Even now, some of the earlier generations, they don't believe in online commerce. Why? Because they did not understand the improvements of the technology. There are a lot of protocols that have been developed, a lot of security procedures, and we are the witnesses in the previous chapter. How many controls we have studied? Like maybe 100+ controls. All are related to information systems. These are all parts of the information software programs. That means each level there are verifications, validations, verification, validation, reporting, suspense file, exception report, log file. You look at it. I mean, it's like tracked everywhere. But even then there are hackers. That's a separate story because human brain doesn't have, it's limitless. I don't know whether you saw that movie. Limitless. Very beautiful movie actually. Conceptually, not the taking words, but yeah. Brain is limitless. That's what they want to prove. Anyway, that's how it is. Hackers will ever be there. Yeah, thieves will always be there when there is some requirement for conducting the theft. definitely there will be thieves. So anyway, different e-commerce models are there, or e-market models. What is e-market? We know physical markets, weekend markets in our colonies or in our places where we live. Weekend, in Telugu we call Sampa, right? Like the bazaars, basically. Like Budipal Kapoor market, some other Monda market, Mujam Jahi market. For products, these are the junction points of products where a lot of vendors come there and sell. But in electronic commerce, there are varieties of models. It is not only one market or one model. One is e-shops, e-tailers. I think most of us know it. Most of this is theoretically it is mentioned here, but all of us know this because we are an e-commerce generation. E-shop is an online version of retail store. Simple. And they can shop at any hour of the day, 24/7. They're convenient way of affecting. We think that our entire e-commerce is one model. No, there are different models. That's what is the purpose of this particular explanation. So we don't design those, but we should understand what type of a model it is. Amazon is of one model, Ola is of another model. There are some other ICA.org is another model. And eSeva or maybe Dharani as a portal by Telangana government is another model. So varieties of e-commerce models. Each one have certain distinction in terms of characteristics. So they are convenient way of affecting direct sales to customers. That means B2C directly, business to customers. So varieties like they mentioned. So operators, they reduce the cost and all that. So mostly Amazon, etc., etc. These are aggregator as well as these are e-shops. You don't have to walk into Hyderabad Central anymore. In Hyderabad Central, there are various brands. But in a retail shop, directly it can sell through a website directly to us. So like that, specifically to customers. Number one, generic discussion. E-shops means e-tailers we call it, like retailers, like our Kiranam shop, for example. At the end of our road, we have a grocery store. Like that, there are websites like that, or e-commerce websites like that. Then e-malls are there. Conglomeration of different shops, like Yahoo stores. So this is like, we use that stores. Yahoo provides various different links to different businesses. Yahoo doesn't do business, but Yahoo gets certain percentage of maybe based on the click or whatever. It's a hosting platform. Hyderabad Central, it is not a product. It is not a company. Of course, company it is, but it doesn't have a manufacturing facility to sell its own products. What does it have? Polo, Tommy Hilfiger, XYZ, maybe one Pizza Hut inside. So many things are there. That's like e-mall. Similarly, e-auctions, most of us may know it. eBay, and we can any other websites, auction websites. I never use it personally.
eBay, sir.
eBay is mentioned here already, like onsale.com, etc., etc. Varieties of portals are there. Varieties of channel of communication for bidding process. Simple. So cars24.com also has some portal inside, which where used cars you can bid for it. It's a reasonable model. A lot of people sell those cars through that auction. It's an online auction. How do we do it? Maybe photographs, a history of the car, accident and some of the other histories, etc., etc. Through that, some potential customers buy it online itself. But some few of the potential customers fight for it. Like that. RTA, the Road Transportation Authority, has auction services for numbers. And now those are all through electronic commerce only. Okay, final registration happens to a person. We have to go to the RTA office. But all the process of bidding happens in portal, RTA portal. It is also an auction site. For example, Junior NTR of Telugu film industry always takes a number called 1. Simple. So wherever 1 is there, he doesn't care how much money he has to spend. But there may be some other competitor to, just to poke into his requirement. So the auction happens in RTA website, and there would be some logical price initially they said, and auction happens, and there would be auction close date. So occasionally, I mean, earlier I just for fun I used to watch what is the today's price for that number, etc. etc. We can't believe, I mean, so many. For a specific number, a lot of people spend huge amounts of money. Of course, we cannot question the sentiments of any person because they have that. Sentiment doesn't have any logic. We cannot beat sentiment or belief by logic. So, auctions. eBay is also one of them. And there are portals, almost like electronic malls. So we enter into that website, and that website doesn't have its own products, just like both are same actually. Portals and electronic malls are almost same. But it is a gateway, it is an entrance point, main entry point to internet. So portals require a little more heavy security because a lot of companies have their presence on their portal, on their servers. So security would be more and more because number of entry points would be more. So it's a website that is positioned to as an entrance to other sites on the internet. Portal consists of web pages that act as a starting point. So the control of content can be a source of revenue. That's how it is. So that means whoever clicks on something, the portal gets some money. Like aggregator type Policy Bazaar. You heard about that? Bank Bazaar. Those are all portals. They don't have their own insurance products. Sorry, what they do? They give an entry to various other portals, other companies. Why other companies give this to these portals as an access? They don't give the content access, but they give the entry access. So through this portal, if I'm, for example, carwale.com, bikewale.com, I don't know, cardekho.com, anyone, or bikedekho.com. These are like varieties of portals. What happens there? If I enter there, I may have a comparison chart between various brands. And if I want to know about specifications of one particular car model, I can click on that and it takes me to the company's website. The information is not there in this portal, but it is entry point for the company's website. Then how is this portal running profitably? The click itself is certain money, like that, how many clicks, etc., etc. Yeah. It's a different world of digital marketing and digital revenues. Portal is that, like Yahoo, Excite, Netscape. In US, mostly people use it. I think this entire material is copied from a US book. In India also, there are some portals for sure. Buyer aggregators, I don't have to tell you. Aggregator means like Ola, Uber, Zomato, Swiggy. They don't, they aggregate various different products to that. And they have certain delivery services also. So this way, a customer doesn't have to go to the product, but product reaches to the customer. In a way, Amazon is also an aggregator, in a way. But Amazon has reached to the next level also. That means it itself is a storage owner in some of the products. It itself has its own methods of meeting the or entertaining the manufacturers' demands, etc., supply demands. So it has reached to the next level. But Swiggy and etc. Swiggy doesn't have its own product. Swiggy probably doesn't have its own storage, as an example. What it does? Aggregates. That is another model of business, e-business. Okay, Practo.com. Anyone heard about it? Callhealth.com. Those are not just aggregators. Why? Practo has its own doctors also, or physicians also, or physiotherapists also. So we can book for consultation. We can book it through phone, telemedicine, or maybe through online. Nowadays, initial diagnosis is happening through visuals also. We can have a Zoom meeting or Skype meeting. Doctor would be there on the other side. They would, let us say I have a toothache. Then I can open it and the magnifying and all that. There are tools, specific tools by those websites. I don't recommend personally because probably I think in old style in some cases, especially related to health. Because family doctor or maybe a person who knows our family history, etc., is better. That's what I feel as of now. But the trend is changing. and Practo, Call Health. These are all what aggregators. Varieties of, you can, you know what, you can rate a doctor anytime. Did you try that anytime? This doctor is good. Like Swiggy, how you rate this food delivery is good. So aggregators are into every business, almost every business. Yeah. Including education also, right? It will take its own time in education because still it is a psychological activity compared to most of the other business activities. Education is not totally business yet. But anyway, buyer aggregators are there. I hope you understand. Any questions on buyer aggregator? And then virtual community. I'm asking a question. I'm not taking much time. I think that you're silent. So, okay. Silent means no questions. Probably. Yeah. Virtual community, a group of people creating virtual community, especially during the COVID times. I don't know how many of you have created your own virtual community of friends, etc., etc. Sometimes they can exchange products among themselves also. They can have a lot of private payment gateways now through PhonePe, ZPay, not directly to the accounts, but varieties of third-party softwares, virtual community softwares are there. These are the areas of hacking actually in most of the cases. So, virtual communities benefit from network. For example, I don't know whether you know it or not. There is a huge fight between Apple's products versus Android products. There are communities who fight each other on internet, and within the Samsung, not only Samsung but even all other Chinese and other phones where they use Android mostly as a platform for their operating system on Linux. They fight with iOS, and always there are a lot of virtual communities. Within this also there may be some exchange of goods and services. Quora, Reddit, yeah, these are virtual communities, absolutely. So if you have a question related to something, but Quora is owned by Google, I think. It has another face to ask questions specifically, and specific groups are there. That's why it is subscription based. So we have to subscribe. Of course, at this point, it is not expensive. I mean, it is not money. We don't have subscription fee. But in Google, anyone can type Google and type anything. In Quora, there are only certain limitations where we can ask questions. I don't know if you tried it or not. After 2 to 3 questions, we have to log into Quora and we need to have a Quora account. It is not a generic search engine. So it's an exclusive community of Quora. Exactly what you said is right. So like that, we can use that. I mean, why not? We can use Google account to log in there. In fact, Google, Facebook, these are all interrelated there. So yeah, absolutely. These are virtual communities. You cannot believe a lot of businesses, they have their own virtual communities, so many other things. Only their products and services they talk about, they fight. And sometimes Amazon users, they also have their own virtual communities to exchange things and all. And sometimes that may lead to the commercial transaction also. It is not only communication and throwing dust on others. Otherwise also it can be used. Okay. Yeah. Then e-marketing, they're totally into digital marketing. They can compare prices, products of rival firms, and only marketing. They don't have any, product buying and selling aspects. E-marketing is possible. That's why, because of that, we can compare various products. And if you want to buy then and there, then that becomes a pure e-portal. If we can, it is only for marketing purposes, then that is pure e-marketing. So levels of websites, levels of e-commerce portals are there. Then very few in India, specific e-marketing are not there. We don't know. They're working on the background, but that's how it is. Electronic marketing. We get a lot of emails, etc. Emails, SMSs through e-marketing companies only. Because they follow our data and browsing history and all that by buying the history from other companies. Google sells our history. It doesn't tell it, but it sells it in a legal way mostly. So e-procurement, like procurement activities, like our we would like to buy something from a company standpoint, business models. So they seek efficiency in accessing information on suppliers, availability, price, quality, So varieties of, let us say I'm going to, or I'm already into a restaurant business. I would like to refurbish my entire restaurant with new furniture. So I can search for online and see varieties of companies where they procure things for me. I don't want to procure by myself because I don't have enough knowledge for that. So instead of that, through these e-procurement companies, we can procure things. A lot of apartment complexes construction, for example, if I tell you, you'll be surprised. So for example, a lot of material they need granite, they need cementing materials, they need concrete, they need concrete. Sometimes they may, mix themselves, but a lot of wood and a lot of electronic surveillance, etc., equipment for huge apartment complexes. Now, the construction companies are not having expertise. Generally, they don't have expertise in it. So earlier, what they used to do, they used to discuss with the contractor. Contractor provides this. Now, even that also is happening through procurement websites. That's how we can understand this. There are so many US and European companies operating in India, to your surprise. Companies like CBRE, JLL, Remax. They take it, they offer varieties of solutions to the construction communities. In fact, individual homes, I know personally also, one of our known persons, his wife, she was working with me earlier, but his wife, she runs an e-procurement company, our website. So anyone who would like to construct their house with a new model, new furniture, she has direct tie-ups with some of the Chinese companies. And through varieties of channels, they can import the furniture. One of the hotels in Hyderabad, actually, Mansook, his name is just like the name. I somehow it came out, but yeah, his name is Mansook Patel, and they have directly a relationship with China through one of these consultants on e-procurement. So to refurbish their furniture, they reduce the overall cost to from 100 rupees earlier to now 20-25 rupees only. They have saved so much money. You go to any pub or generally saying, I'm not encouraging, but any pub or anywhere you go, the furniture what you see there is not procured by local contractors, and it's all imported. Through whom? Because we may not go to, as an individual business owner of a pub or whatever, we don't go to China, right? But still we can have a good procurement. So like that, it's a huge business, by the way, huge business. If you wonder, this Bantia furniture worlds, etc., they do at the back end this e-procurement for a lot of furniture requirements of the business communities as well as the residential communities. Like this, it's a turnkey contract. It's a 2,000 square feet, and this is the wood requirement. This is how the furniture should be. A design architect would give, or interior decorator would give. Based on that, what is required, what is not, e-procurement decides. They take some percentage and they deal with the actual supplier from other country. Malaysia wood is very famous. Burma, for example, teak and other wood related products from Myanmar, very famous. Italian marble, for example, I think I mentioned sometime by one of my known persons from Nellore, super rich guys. Those are. I've seen their hall. I think the size of the hall is 40 by 40 feet. Huge. And one Italian marble plank. Simple. They're okay because they have imported through their chartered flight. Total black Italian marble. Through what? These people did not go there, right? E-procurement. In fact, it is directly not by individual person, by website. E-procurement is high business, high levels of business is happening. Because as a user, we don't know. See, we talk about e-commerce means retail, Amazon, but it has reached to the next levels already. Okay. And then e-distribution, I think they have spent enough time on procurement because as a career opportunity, if you find 2 or 3 procurement companies are your clients, like one there. That's how it is. Also, varieties of opportunities. What I mean is, then e-distribution, distributor company, supplies products and services directly to individual business. Again, it is similar to instead of having an intermediary and all that, directly it comes. Big Basket, for example, it has a direct distribution to the people directly. It's an aggregator also, but BigBasket as a company has its own mechanism. BigBasket doesn't have a link to Heritage Fresh or More or some other. So it has its own procurement inside also. So directly it distributes. There is no other distributor in between. Some models are like that. Sometimes they may outsource the distribution also, but mostly distribution by themselves. So that they will save by managing large volumes of customers, automating orders, communicating with partners, facilitating value-added services like order tracking, etc., etc. So many things. So they will have, Amazon is also like, say, Amazon is a conglomeration of all these things. It is a web portal mostly, or it is e-distribution, it is a mall, e-mall, so many things. That's why it has achieved. So to do this, varieties of modules, software modules were developed. That's why it's a great software company, Amazon is. Okay. Varieties of models. Any questions on those? A question, or if a question comes in the ICA exam, I think you can respond. Any doubts, any questions? Like Wipro.com uses the internet to provide fully integrated business-enabled solutions also. So Cisco.com, for example, or Dell.com, we can buy so many directly, material comes to us. So when you say Amazon, typically that may not fit totally into this model because it doesn't have its own products. But still it does because it is a distribution company also. That's the beauty of Amazon. Whereas others, it's a different model at the back end. Okay. So Wipro directly comes to us. You buy a product directly on the website itself. But we may not get reasonable discounts compared to Amazon because there are varieties of reasons in terms of business model itself. That is pure e-commerce from a business standpoint. I had an opportunity sometime back to go to the MBA students of one of the universities in Hyderabad, and I had an opportunity to teach them for 2 trimesters. One of the core subjects was the supply chain management, and second was e-commerce. So that's a separate world altogether. How the information systems and business, they work hand in hand. What are these models? How do these work? So probably a little more explanation is coming out of me because of that also. Geetham University, I had an opportunity to, in fact, I took an opportunity, not I had, but anyway, that's an opportunity. So it's a good subject. A lot of specialization in a few MBA courses are also introduced like that. But now it is almost saturated. So anyway, that's how e-business models are. So these are all, don't get confused with business models with market models. E-market is different, e-business is different. E-business is from manufacturer or from the source to destination, how the business is continuing. Market is to provide a platform for that. Varieties of platforms. Mall can be a platform, local retail store can be a platform, direct to home is a platform. So varieties of platforms is marketing. What is business? Who is the source? Who is the destination? So don't get confused in the exam. That's why I think I mentioned, I'm reminding you again. Don't just follow the content. Ask questions about the content while you're preparing. Learn through questioning, not through remembering the answers only. Because we'll be confused which answer to be written for what question at later point in time. With so much of material, so much of diversity of content. Knowing the solution itself is not a solution for the exams, especially theory exams. Application of the relevant question. Okay, so this is business models. B2C. I'm not going to explain everything because you know it. Business to consumer directly. It is a business model. Who sell products and services to consumers through internet, simple. B2C. Amazon, Cisco. Marketing model is different. So Amazon may have all marketing models. Cisco may have only few models. Cisco products may not be available on Amazon to buy, but Amazon may give a portal where we can click on Cisco.com and Cisco, it will take us to Cisco's website. So Amazon from a Cisco standpoint, Amazon is not providing the Cisco product as an example. Then Amazon is not a distribution company for Cisco as a marketing model. However, it is a portal. Why? It is giving a gateway for us to get into Cisco. This is how you can understand. B2C. It is purely business model, not marketing model. So change the gear to understand this. Business to consumer is one model. Business to business, like IndiaMart.com, Walmart.com. Walmart as an individual retailer, we cannot buy. We should have an individual person, we cannot buy as a customer. We should be a company, we should show some of the registration documents for that. Let us say Metro, the walk-in store we go, just like that. We cannot directly go as a person. We should represent. That's why they offer a separate card, Metro card, best price card. Why? Those are business to businesses ideally. Of course, we'll cheat it. That's a separate story. But these websites are this business model is B2B, only from business to business. So most of the ERP applications they get a link to this type of web portals. So that let us say I have to procure something. I'm a company. I need to procure some furniture, like 5 ACs I want to procure. So instead of directly going into Daikin.com and typing my order, my ERP, whatever is there in my internal organization. So procure to pay process would automatically open Daikin or few of the other things. The automatic comparison of prices happen, and then order will be placed for business. Directly that order will go to business. There is no individual retail person inside. So business to business transaction, lot of companies work like that automatically now. There is no human intervention or no individual customer entering into it. Business happens from business to business. This is actually huge business in the money in the world. Business to businesses. Okay. Sometimes it may be an intermediate buyer also, because intermediate buyer also is a company which can be a business again. So China products, some company, some unknown, because China companies are unknown. We don't know many companies actually, because they don't care about the name. So Chinese company producing some furniture. There is an Indian company which can import, which is an Indian import company. So as a business, I'm running a restaurant in Hyderabad. And I put an order not to the Chinese company directly, to the intermediary. That is also a company. That company works with Chinese company to import, manage all the import requirements, and sell it, send it to me as a business. So business to business discussions and deals. This is what is running the online business now. Retail reasonable, but mostly business to business at the back end. Because the volumes could be different, the price ranges to spend are different. Then consumer to consumer, like eBay.com, etc. Or OLX also, I think it is consumer to consumer, is it not?
Yes, sir.
It is also consumer to consumer. We can look at some details. A lot of times untrusted parties and a lot of scams happen in OLX. Almost every day one small, big, whatever scam comes in news. So many things. Okay. OLX, type, consumer to consumer. Consumer to business also is there. Consumers set prices and companies bid to offer products and services. There are some websites where I want a product, but I can pay only this much. So some companies bid for it. Bank Bazaar, for example. So if you are, or maybe a Policy Bazaar, for example. For my car, this is the overall IDV, which is the value of the vehicle or engine. Basically, based on the engine's life, the value of premium is calculated. All other things are general. So that is insurance anyway, but I don't want to get into the details. How it works is called IDV price of a particular vehicle. In case of a vehicle insurance, in case of human life, the age and other parameters. Those are called mortality details. In case of health insurance, it is called morbidity details. So insurance knowledge or whatever is separate. And I have a quite interesting number of years of experience in certifications and qualifications also in insurance. There is a course called FLMI, which is internationally recognized course, like chartered accountancy in account for finance. That is for insurance. I can practice anywhere in the world, by the way, in insurance. But anyway, that's a different story. Where insurance has its own parameters. So then an individual customer, hey, this is my car. This is where when I have bought it. And I'm ready to spend just about 5,000 to 6,000, that's all, as insurance. So what are the options for me? And some companies, so consumer to business also we are able to dictate. Not dictate actually, but request and do the business. So consumer places an estimate, and then for personal loan and some of the other things also like insurance, so many other provisions are there in the e-commerce like that. Okay. The calculation, etc., etc. Even health insurance also now is providing this type of consumer to business opportunities. Then most of us at this stage of age, we may not use this or we would not have used it, but it is there. Similarly, consumer to government. Like income tax, we have to file through government. There is no GST, for example. So, GST. No individual manual payments anymore. So, consumer, of course, consumer may be a business, but it is consumer to government. Similarly, government to consumer. Dharani portal registration. E-Seva and some of the other registration docs and data of certificates and all. These are all money. You pay the money. Online also you can do it now. There are some provisions for that. So, government to consumer. Then sometimes business to government also. How bids? Bid means businesses also to pay the taxes. That is one angle. And e-bidding process. So, like in old movies, hero runs till the end of the climax, etc., etc. Someone is asking a question. Yeah, tenders. Yeah, correct. That's the right word. Thank you. So, hero or someone runs in between, fight happens, and finally, last minute, tender is placed. All those things are done now. They're all online tenders now. Even for a small road contract, also online e-filing or e-tendering process. For a Kaleshwaram project or Polavaram project, or for a concrete road in front of our house by the local, generally mostly politicians of local corporators, etc. They have their own Benami companies, they do it. And scale increases as we move further. That's why most of the politicians are businessmen, or most of the businessmen are politicians. No, the second is not correct. Most of the politicians are businessmen because they have a lot of construction companies, and that's where they do it mostly. And business to government can be like that. Okay. So these are some examples of varieties of business models. So two major topics we have discussed today. One, the marketing models, e-market models. There are about 8 or 9, and then e-business models. Any questions? And very general discussion like a newspaper item or whatever, e-commerce future, please just read it here. I don't have time. These numbers I don't believe. No need to also. Okay. This is not something to be remembered. General discussion, that's all. And then now we are entering into the certain components of e-commerce to be understood. Oh, this is where we have to slowly understand how e-commerce works, what are the different components. In earlier chapter, we discussed about information system components. E-commerce is also an information system, is it not? It has users, it has hardware to be used. So ultimately, the same thing, again in a different body, but with customization related to e-commerce. It is also information system. People are there, users are here. Same thing. Hardware was there, software was there, and then databases were there, or data warehouses are there. Network communication is there, boundary of a system is there. Same here also. E-commerce is what? It is an information system. So some of the concepts are just repeated in a customized idea or viewpoint of e-commerce. So user, who is user? Again, the same people we discussed about, individual or organization or anybody using the e-commerce platforms. So again, generic discussion as e-commerce has made procurement easy, etc., etc. So e-commerce vendors selling products like medicine, drugs need to ensure their products are not delivered to wrong persons. And also they must have a original prescription, etc. Verification, no one understands that, but so varieties of scams can happen in that. Yeah. So customer loyalty is built through order processing, speed up, expediting the order processing. Some generic usage from a user standpoint, why e-commerce? This looks like a marketing statement or group of statements for customers. Why e-commerce can be used? So really look at general customers. We don't want to accept promises broken. So many things. That's why if you really observe, Amazon is very particular about the concept. Amazon tells to a user like me or like you, I will deliver it by, let us say, 10th of August. But you know what? It makes sure, almost it makes sure to deliver it before, at least one day before that. It promises less, it delivers more. That is the customer satisfaction. Most of the times, Flipkart doesn't have this process inside. Even the estimation on that, etc. It's very so. Amazon is a conservative estimator in terms of the delivery or procurement inside of there and what is there, and they have their own programs, by the way. That's why it is very sophisticated software company. As an example, so users definitely we know. So this is a classic, again, 4-angled components we can look at. Users, internet, web portal, mobile apps, whatever it is, users use it. This is the major portion of one of the components of any e-commerce application. And then technology is definitely there. But for technology, there must be technology infrastructure also, like servers, network, etc., etc., etc. But for e-commerce, one of the most important things is vendors. Who are vendors? Who are actually manufacturing it and supplying to us, or the suppliers based on the model of the e-commerce. So that's how vendors are also important, because e-commerce is not physical. It is not like a physical retail store. Hence, whoever are supplying, whoever are manufacturing, whoever are distributing, whoever are vending it, these are important for e-commerce. That's why this is one of the other components of it. We look into one by one. Then now we look into e-commerce vendors. So this is the organization or entity providing the user. So Amazon is a vendor. Flipkart is a vendor. For who? For us. What is vending? To sell. Whoever are selling at the end of the day, those are the vendors for us as users. So components wise, that's why this is generic discussion. Okay, nothing technical in this as of now. So e-commerce vendors, they need to ensure following better, effective, efficient transactions on things. Suppliers and supply chain management is very important. Important component of it. So whoever is supplying that, for effectiveness, they need to have enough and right good suppliers. Meaning vendors should have good suppliers. After all, vendors are the brokers. I mean, in a normal way. Either kamal udhar commission. Simple. Vendors are like that. But how are they getting the products? Through suppliers. So suppliers also sometimes may not be manufacturers, by the way. Vendors can be suppliers sometimes. So it is all intermixed based on the model of the business and size of the business and separation of the business components. So suppliers financially should be safe and operationally safe. They cannot just suddenly stop because we are out of finances, so we cannot manufacture or supply. We cannot do that. Suppliers are able to provide real-time stock inventory. So they must have their own software products to make sure enough inventory is available. Otherwise, how Amazon can promise on the screen to the consumer, yeah, we will deliver by so and so date. So there must be a verification process to the suppliers, and suppliers should have a real-time inventory. They cannot cheat Amazon. And because Amazon will lose the promise to the end user. End user will not directly talk to the supplier, right? Amazon will communicate with Amazon and image of Amazon will go down. Hence, the real stock and inventory, etc., real time should be there. It cannot have a batch process. I'll tell tomorrow. But Amazon, we are booking an order now itself. So the information should be now, real time. Very technically savvy programs, very high levels of technology is used in here. Not easy to. That's why Amazon is, I mean, again, admiration towards that from a software standpoint. Absolutely, it has created great business models using software. So the order to deliver time is very short sometimes. That's why there is premium delivery. You can pay extra money and all that. That means they will verify whether the inventory is so suppliers and supply chain management. Number one. What are the different components of vendors or important things of vendors? One second. What is this? Yeah. And then warehouse operations, of course. Where the product is bought and it's delivered from the warehouse of e-commerce vendor. Amazon has its own warehouses. Flipkart has its own warehouses because directly supplier is not supplying. Amazon has to package it, if you understand. The packaging happens in the warehouse. And in fact, that is one of the greatest marketing tools Amazon has introduced. Instead of directly linking the supplier and Swiggy, Zomato, these are all following the same. What is that? Packaging. The internal product is not manufactured by Amazon, but a consumer feels that it is coming from Amazon, right? How is it possible? From a warehouse, wherever the supplier has supplied, it has to be packaged. The package is a great marketing technique and it requires a lot of finesse, meaning smoothness and smooth finish, etc., etc. That's why pakka packing, we call it as in generally. So that's why these are all warehouse operations. Most of these are automated, by the way. Don't think there is a person to open the tape and it's all machines. Automation. Now in the warehouse, the suppliers have supplied and they kept, let us say, 10 Xiaomi phones. Xiaomi phones are there. So the forklift lifts and picks the and it reads the QR code on top of the box, and the box is taken to a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt goes to a package. Again, there package has a QR code. It matches the QR code, and then this phone enters to the package. Automatically, that gets into the next layer. I have seen it actually. Personally, I have seen it. It's totally automatic, just like chips manufacturing. Nothing more than that. Lace and Kurkure or whatever we call. Most of them are packaged like this only. Automation. Packaging wise, world has moved much forward. Warehouse operations is very critical because ultimately a user experiences the product through the package. That's why packing is really important. So that is warehouse. Vendor has to manage this. Supplier or the manufacturer, they don't do this. They will supply to the vendor. Vendor has to keep a warehouse and make sure according to the demand and supply. And again, JIT, all these things happen. Shipping and returns, that is another complementary to warehouse operations. Fast returns, unique selling propositions sometimes. Electronic items we cannot, but other products, there are certain opportunities to return back. And an executive comes and takes it and again packs it back to the warehouse, and it has to be null and void as a transaction in the overall accounting audit trail. It has to be so this tracking and all that part of warehouse operations, but still shipping and returns is a part of vendor's responsibility. And e-commerce catalog and product display, same, we know that, right? When we open Amazon, products have to be displayed beautifully, otherwise we will not be attracted to that. Some hazy photos, nonsense photos. Then now they improve it, 360-degree view. You can rotate it, you can look at the bottom, you can look at the top. So product catalog and whatever is shown in the product should be updated in the and available also. Of course, they can say it is not available as of now, but it cannot give a wrong information. And product catalog, every product has its own marketing strategy of pricing. I think we know that, right? When the accumulation of goods are happening, that it has to be thrown to the market first. with the price. Why, we discussed about it. Why Amazon offers some discounts? Maybe the product is getting outdated. Maybe new update is going to come. Maybe if they keep the product in the inventory, it is more costlier than applying a discount and giving to the other, giving to the customers for with a discount. Who does all this marketing of the vendors? Those divisions. By the way, most of them are automated. Artificial intelligence decides those. That is Amazon. That's why it's huge. By the way, I'm not marketing for it. I'm just explaining how the reality is. And marketing and loyalty programs, these are the ones I'm talking about. It is about long-term relationship. If you open your Gmail or whatever, every day you will get at least 10 mails, even though you don't buy anything now from Amazon. Why? How? Persistence, it is called. I don't know whether you have seen in your, I don't know where you live, but for all the farmers and all that, a lot of utilities, a lot of tools are required. Like, to cut the grass or to, hit the ground and plug the, and all those. So every day or maybe once in a week, they go to a local blacksmith under the fire, they hit. Earlier, I used to think, why that is getting hit every time? And every week it has to be, because it has to be sharp. And once we use it, it becomes, so one time Amazon sends a mail to us and forgets about us, for example, for 1 week. Then we will also forget about Amazon, is it not? So what it does psychologically to the individual customer, even though we delete those without even opening, keeps on sending and keeps on marketing, keeps on showing our interest to us whenever we try to buy something or whenever we try to browse something. These are all discounting and loyalty programs, part of customer relationship management and very important for vendors to manage. Otherwise, we will forget the products through that particular web portal. Why should we buy that? We'll go to some other. So how come we are loyal to that, and we are sure that one, our experience with that earlier, two, bombarding marketing, bombarding loyalty programs. Swiggy also does that. Hey, it's been 2 weeks you ordered. You come back, a Paradise Biryani will be given with 20% discount with additional 1 liter Coca-Cola to you. Why is it doing it? It's loyalty program so that to retain the customer. It's all different international gimmicks and techniques. Okay, and showroom and offline purchase sometimes. Their products can be sold fast if customers are able to feel touch also. I don't know whether you know, there is a company called Lenskart.com. Lenskart. Those of us who have spectacles will know that definitely. So Lenskart, you can design or you can ask for whatever model you want and put an order on online. But you know what? You can go to the physical shop and get it also. In fact, it is not like an online product, because especially when it is touching the eyes and very sensitive part of the body, few people or few customers or more customers related to that particular product, they would like to touch and feel. Hence, it is both online and offline. Actually, Amazon wanted to start that with the Indian grocery stores. Of course, that procedure has gone back because of various other reasons and COVID, etc., etc. It will bombard. So these local grocery stores will become touch and feel of Amazon's inventories. Instead of keeping those in warehouses, Amazon is going to distribute as a distributor to the local groceries now in future. That's how it will conquer the local business. Believe me, these are all like penetration to the market, to the core. And Amazon is superb in it, of course, like any other multinational company. But this is how showroom and offline purchase also will come forward. That is also well done. Different ordering methods, naturally. It is not only credit card, right? It can be based on the conditions of the product and price of products. That is also part. And guarantees. Some electronic items have guarantee for maybe some time, like 6 months or one, some maybe other. So these guarantees are also important. So vendors have to work with manufacturers and guarantee has to be provided. And privacy policy. So definitely privacy should be there, adopted. They have to make sure whether our data is not being shared with others or not. But anyway, we'll accept whatever it is there by clicking accept. But that's how privacy is also important for us to look at. Even if they gather customers' personal information, they should not share. A lot of times the hackers use it, or it is internal share to hackers or not, we don't know. Investigative agencies do that, but part of privacy is also very important. That is vendor's responsibility. Then only we'll believe them as users. And security, that's why it is security. That's why they have varieties of protocols. One of the protocols they use is called SSL, Secured Socket Layer, which is purely technical. And later point in time, some point we'll touch upon it. Secured socket layer means I'm a user, you are the website. When I start my financial transaction, it becomes a bubble. No one else can enter into the bubble. It's a socket. Plug can be inserted into a socket. When, let us say, in electricity, I want to charge my cell phone. For that, there is a plug, and there is a socket in the switchboard. What do? I plug my I plug into the socket and switch on. The moment I turn on the switch, electricity flows to that particular place. However, the plug what I have inserted and the end point of the plug is into my cell phone. Can anyone use the plug parallelly? Unless there is a spike or a flux box with multiple sockets. It's a pure, simple way to look at it, right? Just convert the two electronic transaction. Same thing. Security is made sure. Once we start a financial transaction, which is like current, electricity. Otherwise, once I have a plug into the socket of the particular switchboard, no one else can use it because already it is consuming the entire 3 slots if it is a 3-phase or 2 slots if it is a 2-phase. No one else can use it. Okay, I can extend that by having multiple plug points or multiple sockets by using a flux box or extension box or whatever. But if it is having only one socket, one user or one device only can be used. Same thing should apply to the money transaction also on the or commerce transaction also. Otherwise, users are not guaranteed. When I am doing my financial transaction on internet, if someone else is also using the same thing, then naturally there is no security for my financial transaction. Hence, a layer is created, which is like a bubble. Of course, when I'm talking about bubble, in the case of electricity, is a physical plug. In case of electronic way of doing it, it is all software. Software bubble is created. That bubble is called a protocol. So the moment we try to type some of the secured information, like hdfcbank.com, Axis Bank, or some other bank.com, we use our user ID and password. Look at the bottom of the screen of internet, website or browser, establishing a secured connection. What is a secured connection? By using this user ID and password, this particular IP address or the machine address is creating a invisible bubble. No one else can enter as long as I am using my user ID and my password into that system. But is the system exclusive for me? No, for millions of users. So whenever there is a user authenticated and authorized to enter into that has to be an exclusivity. Otherwise, what is hacking? Breaking that exclusivity and entering in or intruding, that is the right word, intrusion into unauthorized spaces. Is it not hacking? So hence the secured layer, secured socket layer, socket, that's why the terminology is taken from electricity. Plug socket. This is called secured socket layer protocol. We don't know as user all of this, but since this is the information systems subject, we need to know. According to ICA, it is saying that we need to know this. Because in audit, if at all we are doing systems audit, we don't design the secured socket layers, but if they are using it or not, is it effectively working or not? Is secured socket layer for all the financial and confidential transactions, is it creating an invisible bubble between the customer and the server or website or not? We may have to verify in the systems audit checklist. That's why if you look at any and every transaction, including ICA, establishing secured connection, SSL encryption, 128-bit encryption. What are these? These are all protocols. Protocol is nothing but a process automatically should be triggered. What is that automatic process in this case? Security. So I have spent some time on this so that this is important. Whose responsibility is this? Not the user. We don't create all that. We don't own that. But we are depending on that e-commerce vendor. Hence, it is vendor's responsibility to create all this. Whenever it is, working with the user ID and password, once we enter into some website, it should be exclusive to the user with an invisible layer. That layer is called secured socket layer, and there are so many other protocols also. That's how it is. That's why Google is does it have secured socket layer? No, because it is open for any public. There is no user ID, but Google Mail, once we enter, it is exclusive for you and me. I mean, for me, simple. Hence, it uses the secured socket layer protocol. It's a software program, by the way. Okay, security is important, very important by vendors. In fact, Amazon was fined in the earlier life, means earlier phases of its. But why a lot of people do not believe internet banking or internet commerce, because of the security issues. What they feel, if those are not apt or enough. So these are all things related to the vendor. So vendor is also an important component of e-commerce. In fact, vendors are the ones who are connecting to the users through technology. Hence, varieties of components. Some of the business components in related to vendors. Some definitely some technical ownership of vendors also. Privacy policy. It is very important because it's technical. Data is technical. So vendor has to make sure our data is safe. And security wise also, and they use some protocols. Lot of more protocols are there, but this is one example. Okay. And of course, local private policy, privacy policy and security based on Information Technology Act, etc. And we know the utilization of this in Pegasus and other angles, but it's a separate level of hacking. So one of the other, so any questions? Vendors and their responsibilities, or as a part of components in e-commerce infrastructure or e-commerce system. So this diagram is really important in case a question comes. So one side there are users, other side there are vendors, and technology infrastructure should enable all this. And inside of the e-commerce, this is what happens. We'll see one by one. Don't worry. And technology infrastructure is important. Why? E-commerce is technology driven. Hence, these are general. For the e-commerce retailer to be successful, it has to be well integrated. Data safety, storage of data, connection through internet, whether it is coming from an authorized source or not, firewalls required, what the prices that are being shown are with integrity or not, anyone changing the prices through hacking methods or phishing methods. So infrastructure technology used should be like scalable. Meaning, for example, there is a Dhamaka sale happens from Amazon or Flipkart. Earlier, they had 100 servers and they were handling, let us say, 1 million customers, 10 lakh customers. But if during Dhamaka sale, they need, they estimate 20 million customers will use, as an example. Do you think that they will immediately, the existing server strength would be enough for them, or communication strength would be enough for them? No. So what is scalability? Enhancing the size with minimal effort to handle the peak traffic. Any infrastructure should be like that. Otherwise, system will crash. Users will not be useful using that. A lot of times, it is a responsibility of the organization to make sure why any user is relying on an e-commerce website or e-commerce company to buy something. And when they say that, no, sorry, our servers crashed because we could not handle the traffic, I'm betrayed as a user. It is adding agony to me. These are all like legal terms. So it has to be scalable infrastructure. Scalability means enhancing the size. Elasticity means reduce it, enhance it, reduce it, enhance it according to the demand. Scalability only to increase the size according to the demand. Then easy to use and convenient. E-commerce should be for illiterates also, they should understand it, of course. The English literacy in India is required for multinational companies because users in India, they cannot be excluded as customers because they don't know English. Hence, English is also important now. In fact, a lot of international companies are translating their websites into local language. Why Google Translator and some of the other translators are used? So that more users from villages who are not literate in English also can use the websites and e-commerce tools. So these are interrelated, scam, not scam, actually scheme. Like, so easy to use and convenient e-commerce should be like that. And then it has to implement a responsive design. Any website accessible to every device. That means what? I'm using, let us say iPhone. You're using some Samsung phone. Someone else is using some other Android. So an e-commerce website should not say, "Hey, Tuj, I will not work on Android. I will not work in something else." It cannot say that. It has to be responsive design to the according to the customer. I'm using BlackBerry, for example. An e-commerce company cannot say, no, BlackBerry is totally, I don't want to work on it. Then it is you losing the customers, right, who are using BlackBerry. Hence, it is called responsive design. According to the, let us say tomorrow there is a new operating system. Automatically, e-commerce companies should customize its software to work on those operating systems also, databases also. New things may come, cloud technologies may come, and some other new things may come. It has to be responsive with the design. So infrastructure has to be scalable. Infrastructure has to be easy to use and convenient. And infrastructure has to be with responsive design. Okay. These three things. So for example, mobile. Now we don't have to do the e-commerce only in a laptop or a desktop, right? Most of the e-commerce transactions, as an estimation also, will go through mobile phones. Because mobile is not a mobile phone anymore. It is a smartphone of the world. A smartphone of every customer. In fact, it is an extended body part, if you ask me. It is slowly, it is consuming to be a part of human body. So that's how e-commerce also should evolve. It has to use virtual reality. It has to use varieties of new things. It has to use holographic technology. It has to use, if the technology is going to the glasses, then e-commerce should adapt to that and be ready for that. Responsive design. So three things. Infrastructure. Any questions? And more discussion. Infrastructure, computer, servers, database. I'm not going to read all this. So it has to be updated. And mobile applications, just like I said. So there are mobile applications, tablet computers. PDS means personal digital assistant. Our mobile phone or the smartphone is personal digital assistant. You can just say, what is it? Alexa, what is it? Amazon's artificial intelligent Siri, do this. It's a digital assistant, personal assistant. So e-commerce should be there. Siri, buy this pizza from local Pizza Hut. Automatic, and it will ask some for user ID, password, or probably our bank details. Already those are, anyway we'll say remember everything, right? Because we don't want to remember anything. So transaction closed. It looks to be very easy, but infrastructure has to be developed like that. Smartphones, tablets, new computing methods are coming. More and more micro and nano computing is happening. Earlier huge machines, later they became desktops, later they became laptops, now those are smartphones. Now in future there may be glasses, there may be small chip somewhere. So size reduces, processing increases. That is how the world is moving towards. So iOS and Android, open source, BlackBerry, and like whatever we discussed, it is mentioned. Python is mostly used in Europe. Firefox, I think in India also use it like that. So any organization considering their digital presence, it should be compatible with mobile devices. They should decide whether to build a mobile application or not. Of course, no company has a choice now. Everything, whatever we can see in desktop or laptop, we should see it in mobile phone. That's how the companies have developed. This is old details. Everything is in mobile phone. That in fact, mobile phone is the primary source of e-commerce across the world. Yeah. So this discussion is very generic discussion. Mobile stores, front modules should be there. Mobile ticket module can happen. M-commerce. That's why this is not only e-commerce now. This is M-commerce. Mobile store front modules means like the commodities, services that are available, catalogs. Anything is, I mean, whatever we see on a laptop or a desktop. In fact, none of our generation will use that. It is all mobile phone. So this is all different. So mobile advertising and marketing module means software programs. What programs can be there in mobile computing? Catalogs, ticketing means the way we book a ticket or whatever, and attract customers by distributing vouchers and coupons and tickets, etc., etc. Mostly marketing, and then advertising and marketing modules separately based on the younger representatives of the digital information consumers like us. More marketing campaigns, more attractive pop-ups. These are part of advertising and marketing. Customer support and information module also is there through automated chat services. Those are called chat bots. BOT. BOT is nothing but robot. See, everything is concise, so RO is also taken out. Now chat bot. Like at the corner of every mobile application, e-commerce application, there is a chat bot. And we can type our question, someone responds. Do you think that is a human being? No, it is a software. Artificial intelligence, a robot, which is nothing but program, is responding to us. Basic questions it can respond. So customer relationship also can be should be designed as a part of mobile application. New support company and current discounts, we should get a lot of information, and that's why we get a lot of emails. New offers, so many things. Then mobile banking, of course, inextricably linked to selling process, because without banking, we cannot complete the transaction commercially. When we say bank, don't think that it is a traditional bank of HDFC Access only, Phone Pay, GPay, that pay, so many things are there. Before we enter into our bank, so many payment solutions are there. So those are all banking and mobile payment solutions. So for e-commerce, that is a backbone of payment. We have to understand. And the links in software should be properly maintained with those bank websites and bank or mobile applications of those payment systems. Mobile banking definitely is really important. So varieties of technologies are used. Payments of physical point of sale, POS, that means swiping a card. So that is itself is an e-commerce transaction. We may not use only websites. We may use a e-commerce transaction through a credit card also in a physical place. E-commerce does not necessarily happen only on internet. Or the way we try to use the internet application by using credit card details, that becomes a point of sale. So like that, varieties of technologies are there. There are something called near field communication technology. How are we scanning the QR code? Most of us would have paid Paytm through scanning the QR code, if at all you did. Even from a local chai shop also, now they have a small blue thing called pay through Paytm. And there is a QR code there. That is a merchant code. Paytm gives that as a company to merchant. Merchant registers there and gets that. Okay, right, absolutely good. Then how are we scanning it and how the payment is deducted? That's called near field communication technology. We are not actually swiping anything. We are not actually typing anything. There is no physical verification of our data. It is called near field communication. In fact, in near future, or already it is there, most of the physical services also, we will be a QR code for those things as a human. We are QR code. Okay. like that. That is called near field communication technology. This is how the current technical developments are going on. So mobile banking happens like that. These are all whose responsibilities are these? Vendors. And also technology wise, it should be developed at the back-end infrastructure. Technology infrastructure. So we'll put a stop here. There are a few more things in infrastructure. Digital library and data interchange, etc. also are there. We'll talk about or discuss about this tomorrow or yeah. And then we'll proceed further into the a little more technology part of it and our favorite topic of controls and then legal aspects and new emerging technologies. Chapter 4 is a little breezy chapter, I would say, because it is purely related to our day-to-day life, mobile applications. You may not know the components of it. You may not know the analysis required to analyze the structure of it because we are just pure users. But ICA wants us to think from the organization standpoint also how the structure is. So what are the components? So that when we audit an e-commerce company later, because in future every company is going to be e-commerce company, including accounting firms. So what type of legality is there, like laws? What type of controls should be there, and what type of components are there? That is this chapter. A little deeper compared to the generic discussion of information systems. E-commerce is also information systems only, information system only, but components are similar but little deeper. New terminology, new technology also is introduced in this chapter. So this is mostly technical chapter, if you ask me. Okay. Digital library is where we'll put a stop here. Any questions? Yeah. Yeah, more and more technology will come. So near field communication, POS, point of sale. Do we need to remember? Maybe in one mark questions they may ask. So just we need to underline that and part of our preparation. New terminology is also part of our preparation. And I'm here to explain that. So you have to remember it. If you don't remember after 10 days, that's you. So my suggestion is to keep your notes and write in the textbook also whatever you have in front of you, hard copy, write QR code. That is, then you will understand the entire or remember the discussion. Pure audio memory. All right, I think we're already 9:42. Okay. So thank you very much for the day, and you have a great day as well as weekend also. We'll meet upon Monday. Thank you. Bye.